It is time for Making Connections, our weekly interview segment. And today we're going to be talking about makgeolli, traditional fermented rice wine from Korea, which was once a widely enjoyed drink. It took up about 70% of the alcohol market in Korea. But since then, it's had its ups and downs in popularity as well as production. It does seem to be on the upswing once again. And so we're going to be talking about makgeolli with the CEO of Shin Pyeong Brewery, Kim Dongkyo. He's the third generation owner of the historic brewery that's located in Dangjin, just an hour's drive west from Seoul. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Nice to meet you. Good morning.
Very nice to meet you too. Dongkyo, do you mind if you just pull the mic towards you a little bit so we can hear? Just head closer. There you go. We can hear a little bit better now. So welcome to Life Abroad and welcome to TBS EFM. First time?
Yes, the first time.
First time.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show and for sharing your stories about makgeolli. So I think most people, whether they are from Korea or they know Korea and they love Korea, will be somewhat familiar with makgeolli as well. Now, you come from a family of making makgeolli. You're the third generation owner. But like we say, its popularity has had some ups and downs. So did you always have an idea that, okay, I'm going to have to join the family business? And did you kind of join at the time when it was maybe on its dip or when it was going up? Or how was the timing of when you entered the family business?
Yeah, when I was young, I didn't really think about taking up my father's business.
Really? Okay.
At that time, it was kind of a declining business. So I just want to do something very competitive. I want to build my own career. So after graduation, I was working in a big global company in the marketing team.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that marketing experience must have come handy. So what changed your mind then?
Actually, I had a chance to help my father in a big exhibition show. And I saw many people's response to our makgeolli. So they were so happy and they were so satisfied. So I thought at the time it would be very rewarding and worth doing in my life to make our family business successful.
And how many years ago was this?
It was 2010.
2010,
Yeah.
so about 11 years ago.
Yeah.
So not too long ago. I think around 10 or 11 years ago is when we did see that surge in popularity for makgeolli, especially with overseas, right? Maybe Japan as well?
Yes. You remember that very well.
I remember many things not well, but somehow I remember makgeolli as well.
Yeah.
So that's the point when you decided to leave the big conglomerate, the regular job, and join the family business.
Yes.
Your father must have been very happy to hear this.
At first, he was hesitating, but he would be very happy. But he knew could be very difficult for me. But he understood and finally he welcomed me.
That's interesting. So initially, he was actually a little bit hesitant. He was worried about handing you kind of a burden, maybe? That's what he was worried about?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, your father is the second generation owner of Shin Pyeong Brewery.
Yes.
I understand that he took care of it and he grew it for about 50 years or so as well. It was founded back in 1933 during the time of the Japanese occupation. You must have heard so many stories growing up from not only your father but also grandfather who founded the brewery. Can you share with us some stories about maybe the history of the brewery and also your grandfather, how he founded it?
Actually, he was working for his mother's brother's brewery.
This is your grandfather?
Yeah, my grandfather, since he was a teenager. But in his 20s, the mother's brother just passed away suddenly, and he tried to acquire that company. But at that time, it was we were under the Japanese rule. At that time, only some rich men or Japanese people can acquire that brewery license. So one night, he just jumped over the wall of the tax agency, who is in charge of the brewery license, and he persuaded him. He just told him, I have real expertise in makgeolli making. So you should give me rather than just a rich man. So, but he didn't get an answer right away. But in 2 weeks, he got a letter from the tax agency to allow him a brewery license.
What a story. When you said that he jumped over the fence, I was thinking, oh, did he go in the middle of the night and like forge a license? But no, he went to convince the tax. So before that, I guess it was difficult to even meet with sort of the authority in charge.
Yes.
So he took that kind of leap, literal leap.
Yes, so brave.
And that was very brave of him.
Yeah.
I understand at the time, I mean, olden times, I mean, makgeolli was the drink that people brewed at home, right?
Right.
But this, I guess, recipe came down not only from your grandfather, but from his uncle and also his mother as well. So it's been in the family even longer than 1933 then.
Yeah. And also many stories. We also have come to get some special rice noodle making skills during the Korean War. There were some refugees from Hwanghae-do.
Yes.
He was
in North Korea?
Yeah, North Korea. During the Korean War, he just refugee to Dangjin, and he stayed in our brewery. And he taught us how to make rice noodle.
Nuruk,
Yeah.
which is the fermentation sort of agent, right?
Before we were using only the traditional noodle. Yeah.
So what's different? The one from Hwanghae-do and the traditional one?
Traditional one is we are using some wheat and make that noodle in a traditional way. But rice noodle is a more modern form of makgeolli brewing.
Very interesting. So even from a very long time ago then, you were kind of bringing the best of different places, different, makgeolli making skills from all over Korea, even the north as well. Yeah. Very interesting. And it was founded in Dangjin, right, in 1933. And Dangjin, of course, is very famous for its rice. Do you think that also plays a big part in the taste and the quality of the makgeolli that you produce?
Yeah, of course. Dangjin rice is famous for good tasting. So good tasting rice is very good for also makgeolli.
Yeah. What makes the rice good tasting? Is it sweetness or what would you say?
So everything is like a quality control in a rice making company, and also the humidity and everything, the controlling the quality.
All right, very interesting. Well, let's go back to talking about your father, because he did play a very big role in building the brewery to what it was. He took over the brewery from your grandfather, and then in 2018, he was granted the honor of receiving the designation of 식품 명인, Grand Master of Traditional Korean Food, designated by the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs. That's in 2018, so not too long ago. Until that point, though, he must have undergone a lot of challenges and a lot of difficulties. Of course, Korea has grown over the years and remarkably fast growth as well. But did he talk to you about some of the ups and downs? I mean, I imagine that's part of the reason why he was kind of hesitant about passing it on to you, right? What are some of the stories that you remember, like the ups and downs that he experienced?
Actually, when he joined our company, it was 1968, right after the marriage. It was a peak time of makgeolli. Makgeolli accounted for more than 90% in the total alcoholic beverage market.
So that was like 5 or 6 years after the Korean War. People are happy, they're celebrating, they want to maybe forget some of the difficulties as well, so they had a lot of makgeolli, okay?
Yeah, so everyone drank makgeolli at that time. But just from 1980s, especially after the Seoul Asian Game and Seoul Olympic Game,
right?
People started not to drink makgeolli so much.
They would drink soju or beer instead?
Yes, beer and soju. The main reason is makgeolli has been a kind of farmer's drink.
Right.
So Korean society started to move from agricultural society to more urbanized
and also
society.
Western too,
yes,
right?
Yes. So in 1990, makgeolli fall down to only 5 5% in the total market.
Wow, I had no idea that it fell so low. Okay.
In a very short time. So Makgeolli, so he actually experienced the peak time
And the lowest, from
bottom.
90 to 5%.
Right.
My goodness. And then what did that make him feel, or what did that do, to the business? How did he react?
So actually, he decided to develop something more appealing to new generations. That will be the key point for the makgeolli business for the future.
And what was that?
So actually, he got the skills about the makgeolli making using the white lotus leaves. So it was actually Korean traditional method since the Joseon Dynasty.
I see.
And he actually made it as a modern form of makgeolli, white lotus makgeolli. In a commercial brewery settings.
It must have taken a lot of trial and error to add that. Because, like you say, it's a traditional method, but I'm not sure that there are any records of how they brought it into it.
Yeah.
So he must have had to experiment a lot with it. So the end result, by adding the white lotus petals or leaves?
Leaves.
The leaves.
Yes.
What does that do to the makgeolli?
It makes makgeolli taste more smooth and clean. And so it doesn't change the nature of makgeolli tastes a lot, but give very soft and gentle taste.
It sounds very good, even at this hour in the morning. Okay, well now, of course, that you have taken over the role as CEO. And how do you look at the makgeolli market now? What's the percentage now? How do you see it right now and maybe the immediate future?
Makgeolli, during last 10 years, actually market share doesn't change a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. But actually in quality, I think there's a big changes. Especially, I think it's very positive that young brewers coming to the makgeolli industry.
Right.
So
Not only from Korea, right? Like overseas from Australia, like Julia Mello.
Yeah, that's very good sign. And they are making some impact on our makgeolli business. Yeah.
So I guess maybe the kind of the share of the overall alcohol market, it's a reflection of how mature the overall market is, right? Because you see kind of a maybe an even division between beer, soju, makgeolli, and also wine as well. So there's kind of a mature kind of ratio to the what kind of alcohol is popular. But why is it popular now and among the younger generation? Because like you said, it used to be considered the farmer's drink,
Yes.
and that's why it went down to 5%. There are younger people now, and they are making their own, and they're interested in it. But what's behind that? It's not just witty packaging and brand names, right?
Yeah. Now I think for the past decades, there's kind of global trend in alcohol. People doesn't consume alcohol a lot, and they are seeking for low.
Really?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
And also they are seeking for low alcohol.
That is true.
Yeah.
Lower alcohol
Yeah,
content,
yeah,
right? And
right.
makgeolli is what? The average is
Like 6 degrees.
6
Yeah.
degrees. So a little bit higher than beer usually, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay.
But even that is now getting lower. Some makgeolli have 5 or 4. Yeah.
But I think I've talked about this with Julia before, but some people, I think they have outdated notions, and I used to be one of them, that makgeolli can give you a bad hangover the next morning. It tastes great when you're having it, but the next morning, the next day can be a little bit difficult. But that's really the way it's made, right? And it's made in a different way nowadays.
Yeah, I think we should not drink a lot.
Okay.
So any kind of alcohol,
Of course.
if you drink a lot,
responsibly.
make
Yes,
a headache.
moderation. Very true.
Yeah, but now the commercial makgeolli now are very in good quality. So I think it's getting much getting better and better.
Very good. And you're also promoting makgeolli and making as well. I mean, your brewery was selected by the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural as a recommended brewery to visit. So you have tours available for both locals and also overseas visitors. Hopefully when Corona is over, more visitors as well.
Yes.
What do you offer on your tour when they visit the brewery? What can they expect?
Actually, we have two types of tours, like a group tour and free individual tourists.
Okay.
So for group tour, they can experience making White Lotus makgeolli.
You can make it yourself.
Yeah.
And take it home
Take it
with you?
home,
Good,
and
good.
after one week, they just filter it and they can drink it. And also they can make a rice malt Korean traditional pancake, which is mostly for kids.
Kids,
Yeah.
okay. But it's also a great accompaniment, a great anju for makgeolli, isn't it? No?
Yeah,
Yeah?
also good anju. But it's a little bit sweet. So people just another taste is like a gorgonzola pizza.
Ooh, yummy.
So yeah, just kids like that very much.
I know a lot of adults like that as well. Actually, we got a question from 5624, our listener, saying 저는 막걸리를 그리 좋아하진 않는데요. 오늘 들으니까 한번 시도해 보고 싶네요. 가장 추천하시는 그리고 어울리는 메뉴가 뭘까요?
Actually, I think makgeolli is in harmony with any kind of food, basically. But like recently, like fried foods.
Fried foods.
Yeah, like John is actually fried
Always,
one.
yeah.
So fried one is basically very in harmony with makgeolli very well.
Definitely. I think that's the first thing we think of when we think of makgeolli anju.
Yeah.
What's your favorite, personal favorite?
When I eat some beef or barbecue, I enjoy drinking makgeolli.
Pork or beef? Pork or beef? With makgeolli, both? Okay.
Yeah.
Makgeolli with chon or makgeolli with barbecue. All right. Now, of course, you have taken over, you have introduced this visits and the tours to your brewery as well. What else are you kind of planning to promote, not only the brewery, but makgeolli, both inside and outside of Korea?
Yeah, actually, for now, we are focusing on the increasing the visitors. We are opening our brewery for brewery tour. And also, we are developing some new product for the young generations. And also, we are working with people in our Shin Pyeong community to prepare some makgeolli festival.
Lovely.
But it's not very big makgeolli festival, but it's very small scale. Community-centered makgeolli festival, which is 동네 잔치, an old concept.
Yes, like an old concept, right?
Yeah, so I realized that just big festival doesn't give much attraction to just visitors. So if we, our community people, enjoy ourselves, then that give off some good energy to the visitors. So
absolutely.
That's our basic.
And it sounds like a great idea, especially in this era of social distancing and COVID-19. And who knows when we'll be able to go back to those kind of big festivals and whether they are kind of wanted, like you say. I think the smaller 동네 잔치, 동네 행사, they offer a different taste of the community, maybe in a more authentic taste of the local community environment as well. So Kim Dongkyo-님, I would like to thank you for coming on the show and for sharing your stories. It's been a pleasure, and I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, thank you very much.